was probably midway through my sort of adolescence. I was a full-time job from 16, working as a truck mechanic for 10 hours a day, Monday to Saturday. I was working the doors at night, so, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I was on pubs and nightclubs doing security, so I was moonlighting. So I was working over 80 hours a week in total. And I was doing my gym work as well, 20 hours a week in the gym. So, add it all up, I was doing 100 plus hours a week of actual hard graft. And that didn't leave much time for family, didn't leave much time for socializing. I never went out, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs, I didn't do anything. Very boring life, I just sort of work. Got married, had kids, and then I got to about 26, and I was still in the same situation, working 80 plus hours a week, training 20 hours a week, killing myself. And I was coming home from work every single day and just putting my head in my hands and crying, basically. Just hating life. Hated it. It was so hard to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to support my family. And I just remember, this went on for years, and I just remember the one weekend that I actually did a world record deadlift in Leeds, and I dropped the weight, and I was disallowed the lift. It was a world record deadlift, but because I dropped the weight, I was disallowed the lift. And I went from having, if I did the lift, I would have got £10,000 prize money, and because I dropped it, I got zero. So I actually lost money that weekend. I travelled up, hotel, food, blah, blah, blah. It was probably about £500-600 out of pocket. And at that time, money was a real struggle. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this? Why am I working all these hours, killing myself for nothing, to lose money? And it was that weekend I came back and sort of sat down with the wife and reflected. Really reflected on my life and just in general. And I made the decision to quit Strongman because it was killing me. I didn't have any free time. I was tired. I was knackered. I had bags under my eyes. I was only sleeping sort of 5-6 hours a night, moonlighting as well. Sometimes I'd only have 4 hours sleep a day. And I just decided that, spending all this time, money, effort on food, physio, nutrition, going and traveling to competitions and everything, I was just losing money, and I thought, what's the point? I might as well put more effort into work, do more overtime. I had a door business at the time, a security business. I might as well put more effort into that and grow that business and, flourish in that. And then it was my wife that looked at me and was just like, what the fuck are you on about? You've just pulled a world record deadlift for the whole world to see, and you're coming home and you're crying like a little bitch. And she was literally like, taking the piss out of me. And it was quite harsh, but I'm glad she did, because it was in that moment that I was like, it lit a fire in me. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to sell my door business, and I'm going to become a full-time strongman, and I'm going to be the world's strongest man one day. And that was the weekend that I never went back to work. I finished work on the Friday, competed on the Saturday, didn't go back into work on the Monday. I sold the door business, and I went balls deep to become the world's strongest man, and that was in the very end of 2014, and 2.5 years later, I was the world's strongest man, and all my problems went away.